I don't know how they start.
You might hear Tiffany's friends in the back.
Shut the fuck up. You know they look like you.
Welcome back. I'm Naveah.
I'm Tiffany.
I'm Bibian.
And I'm Briyith. And on today's episode, we're gonna be reviewing and analyzing Alice Darling. Did you all watch it?
Yes. You don't have to look so suspicious.
Ooh, I have notes. We have notes. We have notes, actually.
I have notes in my brain.
Okay, so what were your guys' opinions on the movie?
Okay.
Give your
Okay.
honest review.
Okay, so it was an indie movie, and everybody knows it's an indie movie. But indie movies, I feel like they just drag. It's just a lot, and like a lot of it is substance, but a lot of the montages I felt could have been cut out. Overall, I think the actual like the movie material, it was really good. Like the topics it was hitting was good. Yeah.
Naveah, what about you?
Honestly, I thought it wasn't bad. It was kind of crazy, like just a little like connections that were being made, but it was like kind of freaky. It was like, oh my goodness, like, but it does show like behind the scenes and what happens like in those relationships.
Yeah.
And like just the normal for people like that are like dealing with like situations like that. I thought it was a pretty good movie. It wasn't bad, and the actor, I really love her. She's a really good actor. So
Anna Kendrick, she's
yeah.
good. I liked her in the movie.
So I thought it was a pretty good movie. It wasn't bad.
I thought the acting was really good.
Yeah.
I thought it wasn't, you know.
For us, for these movies, cinematography is a big thing for us. So for us, we did like the scenes where it was just like
Like the montage?
the montages. Yeah, we
Mhm.
did like all that.
Yeah.
Because we
You want limon?
think it symbolizes like whatever's going on in
Yeah.
the context of the movie. So we did like that, those things. But other than that,
Yeah, I don't think the movie dragged. I think it was the appropriate amount of time that it was. I feel like it was really important to build the relationship between the girls and like everything in between.
Yeah.
In between it. And so honestly I really like the length. I feel like it was perfectly paced. And yeah.
Okay.
Like
I agree. For all of our movies, there's like something big, a big aspect of them. For After, it was
Pardon?
normalize abuse.
normalized abuse in this generation. And then for Culpa Mia or My Fault, it had it had a lot to do with cultures.
Yeah.
A little. It's to add seasoning, bro.
It's gonna fall in the content, bro. Watch. It's gonna be cilantro, bro. Watch.
And then for this one,
Yeah.
I think in my opinion, it was like once like you're in an abusive relationship, it was more in the aspect of the friends, like people outside of the relationship and what they also had to deal with
Yeah.
and their like views and perspective on an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. I think you look like you're about to talk.
I was thinking.
Oh, she's always thinking, never says anything. I thought that, I thought one of the biggest, I don't know why I'm tipping this while I'm trying to talk. Anyways, I thought one of the biggest points in the actual movie was just building connection and, because we see him trying to wear down his friendships, specifically with, I forgot their names, I'll be honest, I forgot their names. But the artist girl, the girl who they kept being like, oh, you have no job.
Yeah.
How he was trying to break down that friendship, I feel because she is basically like everything he doesn't want her to be. She's independent, you know, she's sure of herself, she doesn't need anybody around her to like reassure her. And seeing her, he feels like she's gonna have some sort of influence over his girlfriend and be like, yeah, your boyfriend ain't anything, you need to dump him. So I felt that was like just the friendship between the girls, I felt that was the biggest central point towards the movie.
I feel like I agree with that because even in like literally the first scene of the movie was like her, like, you can tell like their friendship was already kind of like uncomfortable, especially with that one girl, because I feel like she knew. I feel like she like she could already tell from the jump, and because obviously obviously went on more in the movie, but like just that immediate reaction, like you can tell, like even like when her flashbacks, where she would have severe flashbacks like that, she would like throw up and like feel so uneasy. It's just like you could tell, like the people around her could also obviously tell, like, hey, like you need to snap back, like
Yeah.
and kind of like reel her back in, because she was like it, like you could tell it was obviously immediately like taking a toll on her relationships with other people.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to have those support systems.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be, especially in abusive relationships. We talk a lot about this because this movie, I think, it was not stereotypical in that aspect. Since in relationship abuse, like abusive relationships, sorry, the abuser tends to kind of try to make you distant from everybody you love. They're trying to have you as more of like under their control. And so with this movie, it was not seen because I mean you tend to see like friends get distance once you have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Um, and it showed it differently in this movie since the friends, instead of dipping out and like being like will you be in your life, they were being there for her.
Yeah.
They initiated stuff to go out and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's also like a really good point of showing that a lot of abusers do try and isolate their victims.
Yeah.
And that even though sometimes as a friend it might be hard to like try and be there for them, it is really important to be there since like as we saw in the movie, like you can literally like save them from being in that relationship, friendships, and just being close to people in general are a big support system which help a lot of people out of really bad situations. Which is why a lot of abusers try and isolate people and try to get rid of that support system.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a really good message that the movie sent out of like be there for your friends, like try and help each other out.
And that you never know like what's behind closed doors. Like
Yeah.
they never like brought it up to her in a way of like you're in the wrong.
Yeah.
Like on the contrary, they were like, let's go out to whatever it was, the woods.
Yeah, like the cabin or whatever. Yeah.
So I think, like Bibian was saying, it's important to have those support systems and those people that are there for you.
Yeah. And even when they already were like having their like, oh yeah, he's not good for her, like something's obviously going on, when she was like starting to reveal to them, they were like, because it was a lot worse than what they had believed, because they had thought, he's typical, he's a narcissist, blah blah blah. It wasn't until she started being like, yeah, he does this, he makes me feel like this, that they were like it's so much worse than what we thought.
I feel like it's crazy to like really see in a real life scenario, because it really does come in like so many different forms. Like by experience, like I feel like if I didn't have those support systems to help me, like I wouldn't know what to do, because it would be like events that like it would like this person would wait outside my school, like they would send me pictures and like, oh, like I'm here, I'm waiting for you, or like stuff like that to get in your head. And then obviously you're just like, oh, what do? Like you're stuck between like, you don't want to bring other people into it, but also like they could tell that something's wrong. And I feel like if you don't have like those people around you, it's really hard to like get out of that.
I mean, because the people that you love most, I think they're the ones that know you best. Like, for example, there were signals that she wasn't doing the things she loved to do. I think painting was one of them. I may be wrong. Was it not painting? It was.
I don't think it was
Or was it swimming? I'm not sure.
I don't think it was either of those.
Yeah.
There was a sign where she didn't want to do what she
I think
would
it was the
do.
food thing that took them off.
The disordered eating.
The eating disorder.
Oh yeah.
So doing stuff like that, like the girls picked it up really quickly. They knew immediately, like there's something wrong here, because what do you mean you don't want to eat? Like what do you mean you don't want to do the things that you love to do?
Yeah.
So it is the people that that love you and that you surround yourself with that know you the best.
And it's so bad because that whole moment where the girl was pointing out to her, like, you have an eating disorder, and her immediate response wasn't being like, oh, like, no, I don't have one, or nothing like that, but to like shove all the sugar in her mouth it's so bad. And then immediately after, the boyfriend calls, and it's like, it's terrible. Like,
I feel like from the beginning, like even the beginning of the movie, like with like her when they went out, like they asked her, hey, come out, you know, they had drinks or whatever. Like she was like, no, I don't, like she couldn't drink, and she had to like go out of her way to like send him pictures or send him what she was doing or like crazy stuff like that, where she would have to like with the number that she found in her whatever, like she had to wash it and like get rid of it. Like that's like insane, because she like, you could tell, or like the like cinematic like pictures that it would show like of her in the restroom, or like how she would pull her hair out and stuff like that. Like that was like, damn, like that's crazy.
and it's so bad because it's obviously giving you the background that he's crazy enough that if he thought she was up to something, he would like go through their trash and look for whatever it is he's looking for.
The fact that she had to like, she knows what to do to prevent him. Like she would like, that's like crazy. Like she has to like diminish the napkin under the water to like show that it was never there. Like stuff like that, where she like just never felt clean. Like she never felt like okay or safe. Like she always felt uneasy. Like even thinking about memories, like that's when she would throw up. She would think about him, and then she would immediately get uneasy and like scared. Like
even her most vulnerable fell on me. Even her most vulnerable spot, like when you're at your most vulnerable, he snuck into her shower. Like that's
wonder why she was scared. Yeah.
I think the movie does a really good job of like making you feel what she feels.
Making you feel uncomfortable.
Like whenever like he's on screen, it feels like very suffocating.
Yeah.
Like very like, I don't know, like uneasy.
It shows like his just eyes.
And that's why I think the cinematography and like the long, what is it?
Montages.
That is important with this because
It's so good.
the hair ripping,
When I saw that, I was like,
I
what
had,
the
like,
heck?
a moment. Like when the hair ripping, I was like,
I had to pause it.
easy.
Cause I didn't think she was ripped. Like she was really like going like this and just ripping it out.
No, yeah. It was so for me, oh, it's in my mouth. It made me so uncomfortable. Because when I was younger, I used to struggle with that, where I would pull out my hair. Like every middle school picture you'll find of me, I have no eyebrows. Because when I was stressed or when I was like had nothing to do, I would find myself like pulling out my eyebrow hairs, and that was so. It was like the worst period of my life, because you're like ripping out your hair because you're stressed, but now you're even more stressed and more anxious because you're like, I don't have eyebrows.
And that to the stress is a big factor of fear. The fear she was going through, like it went into an extent where you don't think that would be happening. Like her friends didn't know about it, and I mean, to me, it's just crazy how one person can make you feel so like worthless because. I feel like it does. The swimming, like the going into the river, had a lot to do with it.
It was. I think it was meant to like symbolize how she felt like she was drowning.
Yeah.
With him was how I took it.
Yeah, when she was looking for that earring, she was waterboarding herself in the actual cabin. Remember that?
Yeah.
She was just like, she was drowning, but she was letting herself drown because of him. She was like, she kept going under with no air for that earring. She like puts a towel over her face whenever he comes around. Like whenever she starts thinking about him, she just starts literally drowning herself. And it's not, I'm not saying that as like she's doing this to herself, but she's so under his control at this point that it feels like it's the only thing she can do now.
I think that's
Okay, I see what you're saying. This may be controversial. I always say that in every episode.
And it's never controversial.
Do you know how many times I've had to cut out? This may be controversial.
It's never controversial, bro.
Never.
It's always a
And
lukewarm taste.
This is like related with the movie, but also like not.
Okay.
Because after I watched the movie, I saw there was a TikTok where it was like, if only my friends knew, my ex-friends, because they were not her friends by that point. If only my ex-friends knew that I was actually in an abusive relationship, but they decided to like depart, like kind of distance themselves and not talk to me anymore after getting with him. And I don't know what you guys think of that, because for me, for the longest time, I was like, I don't get the whole distancing yourself away from somebody that has a boyfriend. I've never gotten it. I've experienced it. Never gotten it. And because like you get treated differently. And with this movie, it showed like the complete opposite, which is why I'm telling you guys, like, for this, it was not stereotypical, and it was not what abusers or what people in an abusive relationship go through. So I want to hear you guys talk about like
I feel like I understand what you're saying because that's a big thing. Like, I feel like I felt it from the side in which like I've felt it from other people, and I've done it like where people like that not like they just distance. I feel like they distance themselves just because it's just like, and in some cases people act different, and I would understand that because when I was with someone, I acted very different than like how I normally acted, but it was because of like the things that he would do and the things that like would make me act like way different than how I normally act. So like I just like I wouldn't like it would be scenarios like he would get mad if I would hang out with certain people or like and that's and I was just like, okay, you know what, like then I just would not really talk to them or I would be like, no, I don't want to go out. Like no, like and I could understand the fact that like you have to change yourself in order to please someone else just because of like you don't want them to be angry or like or stuff like that. And even to the point like where you see it with people like I've never distanced myself from someone that like I would usually if I see it then I'd be like, oh, like if you know if things are going on you can count on me, like I can help you no matter what, but you just have to let the person like experience it or like if until like they actually need help, but you have to like make sure like you're known for help because I feel like people like that when they're in scenarios like sometimes they don't reach out to people because they don't have the friends around them anymore because they left them and they stopped talking to them. But I don't think people should just stop being friends with someone because I feel like everyone's initial reaction is like, oh, you have a boyfriend. All she cares about her boyfriend is now. But like, she can be happy with someone and also be with her friends. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be in between. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I've had that before too, where people have been like trying to get distant once they have a boyfriend, just because they're like, especially in that like first honeymoon phase when it's all like, yeah, like my man, my man, my man. I've I've been personally annoyed by that, but I've never been like, oh, we're not gonna be friends anymore because you have a boyfriend. I feel like that's weird. But my hair, when somebody's trying to pull away like from a friendship because of their boyfriend, I try to make it be like I get that you're trying to pull away from me. I know that you're doing this, but even if like I will always be here. Like I know that you're pulling away right now, but in the future, if you ever need anything, like I will always be here. And it's not something you can let go of like overnight. You can't one day be like, oh, we're best friends, and the next day be like, oh, I don't know her. Like I'm not friends with her no more. And I've also been on the other side of the coin where it wasn't a relationship, but one of my best friends was being like, I don't like that you hang out with this person because like whatever, like her own personal stuff. I never understood it because I was like these are my friends. Like you don't want me to be friends with them, and I was never in the part. I didn't listen to her because I was like, okay, I was I never listened to this person. I okay, whatever. I never listened to this person when they were like, "Oh, you shouldn't be friends with so and so," because to me they were just not giving me any reasons. They were just like, "I don't like you being around this person, so you have to stop being friends with this person." And I'm like, "You are in no position of power over me. Like, I don't understand." But if this had been the only reason why I feel like I didn't pull away was because this friendship with this person was relatively new compared to my old friendships, and I was like, we haven't known each other for the amount of time for me to actually start believing you. And that's why I feel like it's so scary because when you're in an abusive relationship, it's not like right off the get-go, like you start dating and they're like, oh, and you need to cut this person. It's so slow. Like you like observe it. They start off like super cute, super cuddly.
Right.
They're like lovey-dovey and stuff. They like want to get to know your friends, want to get to know your family, and it's like months and months and years later that they're not even like saying it outright. They're just like, oh, that person's weird, aren't they? Like, are you sure you want to be friends? Like making you doubt yourself, like making you question yourself and trying to make it seem like it's your own idea to like cut them off.
I feel like it's always the case of like us versus them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think there because it's not set up. There's no like norm set up for it to be just like let's all just be neutral. It's like even though I don't like this person or I don't agree with the things they do, like people don't like that you can make your own interpretation about a person. Like it's always like if I don't like them, you don't like them. Like, and I get it. There's like most of the time it's always like that. It's always like
well, I don't like that they did this to me, so they might do the same to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, in every story, like we're at least to somebody else, we're always the villain. So that's why I'm like, let that person make up their own interpretation about the other person that you don't like.
Yeah.
Let them be. Like it's not, because there's not always like just the middle ground. It's always us and them, and that's it. There's no like in between.
And like even if you're trying to be in the middle ground, like oh I'm not. That's bad. That's
No,
bad.
but like I feel like, how do you guys feel about? Because I feel like abusive relationships can come in like many types of different relationships, like friendships,
Yeah.
like family, friends, like any way. Because I feel like have you guys ever dealt with like people or like friends that like are really controlling in that way, like tell you like, oh, I don't like them,
Yeah.
you need to stop hanging out with them, or like get mad that you hang out with other people or stuff like that?
No, abusive
Yeah.
relationships. People would be like for example, if the rich don't get abused, yes they do. There's no like, in no way, shape, or form is there a paper written like,
Yeah.
oh, it only happens to poor people. It only happens to this race. It happens to anybody. And relationship abuse does not only come physical. It comes mentally, it comes financially. Like
That.
there's so many like ways somebody can be abusive. And yeah, it's not only your partner. It
Yeah.
can be a friend. It can be your family member. So
Yeah. Coming back to that whole like abuse comes in different forms. You see that a lot in the movie where it's like he is rich. Like we know he's rich because everybody keeps saying, "Oh yeah, that guy, he's rich." And she, I don't want to say she's poor because she's probably not poor, but she's
not as rich as he is.
she's financially controlled by him. But he's playing it off. This is the scene that made me uncomfortable, like the most uncomfortable, where we know he's abusive. He's being like, oh, he's being so controlling, and like looking back, he's being so controlling. But when it comes to like he's such a narcissist, because when it comes back to like this whole thing of the art show, he's like, it was so bad, like trying to seek out sympathy in her, like it was so bad. Nobody came. She's like, girl, hundreds of people came because it was so bad.
No, wait, no. You know what he said? He said it wasn't important people that came.
Like,
Oh yeah, he said like the feedback said like he's just some washed out artist
Right.
or something.
And the scene that I was like, oh, I was like, when he was like sitting down and she was like cradling his head towards her chest like a mother. She was like babying him. And it was like, he is obviously in control of this dynamic. He is abusive. He is in control of her financial assets. He's not letting her go out. But he's also making her like mother him. Like making her be his mother to give her control in that aspect.
because this man was so insecure.
Right.
Yeah.
It was so annoying.
It was so bad because I think he saw the competition a little bit between the friend.
Oh my god, they're coming! That ain't me.
No, I feel like even before, when he was like she was practicing how like outside of the coffee shop or whatever, she was practicing like, oh hey, like I was like, that's like I feel like that really put in like perspective at beginning of the movie, like this is what she like has to do, like how serious the situation is, because she had to practice in order to bring it up to him. And he was like, well, I thought like you didn't even like that job. That job's nothing. Like you could do way better. Like why don't you just quit, basically?
Yeah. Why did you quit and like shut off the only like chance you have
outside world that she
Yeah.
has left? Yeah.
And then the other part of that where she was like, what that was like bad was when he was like, why would you lie to me, already knowing why she would lie to him, because he's an abuser, he's a narcissistic. And she's like, I don't know. When we both are aware, like,
No, when he was like, "Don't you feel sorry?"
and
He was like, "Aren't you sorry?"
and that whole thing with the like, oh, I'm being bad, he won't love me.
When she lost the earrings,
Oh,
that
yeah.
scene was so like afterwards when she was in the bathroom.
Kim K,
Yeah.
my diamond earring.
Boy.
That was such an intense scene, and I love the cinematography of it because it was just like so well made. Where like you can literally feel her panic with like how shaky the camera is, and how like she just keeps ripping and ripping it, and
Oh yeah.
yeah.
For me, I thought there was a little going back to my
Yeah.
before I got interrupted.
But look at that gang, bro.
What's it
What were
called?
you saying?
The competition, like he was so insecure because I think he felt a little competition between the girl and him, like because the girl was trying to the artist.
Yeah.
She was trying to get. It was like kind of in the same field as he, but she was just barely starting out, and he went crazy about it. I think he was like, well, because as you said before, like he felt most targeted about her.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, so are you sure you want to be like say stuff like, are you sure you want to be friends with her?
Like you don't even
sure
like her.
You're too good for her.
exactly like stuff like that. I think insecurity with a lot of abusers are it's definitely one of the main like characteristics that you see.
Yeah.
I feel like she could feel it from the beginning because like when she invited her friends to the art show. She was the one that didn't come, but you could tell at the dinner when she was just like, "Oh, like, I'll see," and you could tell like she felt a type of way about him, and I feel like from that jump, that's when he was just like, "Oh, like, no," because the other one she was way more friendlier. She was like, like she was just like, "Oh,"
She was like the middle ground.
yeah,
She really was the middle ground. Like we have the girl who's already too far gone, the girl who's not like buying it at all, and the one that's just like, well, maybe.
yeah, we'll just
Guys,
deal with
it's
it,
not
tolerate
Yeah.
it.
But I feel like she was needed, like
Yeah.
with the whole dynamic.
Yeah, because they would have like killed each other
No,
without
yes,
her.
they would've. I don't think they would have even stayed friends.
No,
They
she
were
would've just
already,
cut her
they were
off.
already
They would've-
breaking apart.
They would have already left
Yeah,
the
no, they
cabin.
would've-
Like first day there, they would have.
I think a lot of them played a well role with
Yeah.
how the whole friend group.
And then that goes back to what we were saying earlier. Like just because you're in the middle, just because you're not picking a side, doesn't mean that you're useless. Like you're probably the most important person that is actually able to see and understand both sides and be like, yeah.
Oh, I want to talk about all the self care she was doing.
Oh, when before she would get home, or like
Like sort of.
before she
Like
would see him.
I think.
Oh.
Yeah, like when she did
Yeah.
her makeup,
Yeah.
and then something else that like really struck me was like every morning how she would go on a jog,
Yeah.
and then she would be listening to like this one podcast about like it was like a self care podcast, but like all the tips were like very very toxic,
Mm-hmm.
and that also like attributed to her eating disorder and like especially the abusive boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think it's like very like telling about how as a society it's not always like just the abuser that is harming you. It can
Yeah.
also be like people that are supposedly helping you.
Yeah.
Like self-care influencers and things like that that are like, oh, you need to do this, this, and this, and you'll be
And then you'll be perfect.
yeah, you'll be perfect. You're gonna be happy, this and that. And you
Yeah.
can tell that she was like very on like a very rigorous like no sugar, like exercise every day, this and that. And I just think that also added to
Mhm.
like a lot of her mental turmoil
Yeah.
of just like, oh, like I'm not perfect, and all of these people, like including these influencers and my boyfriend, are telling me that I should be perfect
Yeah.
and I can't be.
Yeah. And to the whole makeup point, the one time that we know for sure that he saw her without makeup, he was like, "Oh, you look rough," or something like that. He was like, "Oh, that was it's terrible, guys."
I feel like that's such a huge point. Is like I feel like in our society, it's like I feel like everybody's so normalizing saying like, oh, like if you're getting abused, then just leave. Like why is she just doing it to herself?
It's
Like
not
why does
easy.
she why
Yeah.
does she leave? And then it just leaves it on the person that is getting like the victim. Like, well, like people are gonna look at me like shameful, and it's shameful to say like I'm getting abused, and like the first reaction is like, well, why don't you leave? Like it's not that easy because
Yeah.
people have like the restrictions like money or like that's their person, like that's the person that they thought they knew is not who they
Yeah.
are. It's just like, oh, like where do you go from there? It's just like that kind of like she was living with him, like
Yeah.
they had so much control and everything. So it's just like it's really sad that in our society that's what the first thing people say is like, well, like you're doing it to yourself, just leave. Like I would never let someone do that to me.
Yeah.
But then they only say that until they're in situations
Yeah.
like that where they're like, oh, I understand.
Mm-hmm. And then by that point, you've grown this idea with everybody else that it's your fault.
Yeah.
And like the only reason why she was actually able to leave was because she had that support, that she had that reassurance from her friends. Like whatever happens, like you don't have your own money, we have you. Like you don't have your own place, we have you. Like you'll be okay if you stay with us. But a lot of people, especially in abusive relationships, have gotten to the point where they don't have anybody anymore. They don't have their parents. They don't have any friends outside of who they are with this abuser.
Going back to what Naveah was saying,
Yeah.
I think it's the standards that society has put up on, especially women. And this goes with like women have to be strong and you have to look put together and have makeup on, you must be jogging, you must be a certain type of like body figure with what the girl was going on through the movie. And I feel like she was saying, if she did ever like mention that she was in an abusive relationship, obviously during that state of weakness.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If you're in that state of weakness, well, what people would call weakness, and you're like, you have to be so far up there to be finally say like, you know what, I'm getting abused and this is happening to me, and because nobody's expecting you to do it. Like it's all up to you, and it's all up to your own timing. But because society has put like those beauty standards, we can't. It's not easy.
It's a hard thing to do. It's definitely like you feel like your world is like falling apart without this person. You feel like you're nothing without this person, and that you will never be nothing. You'll never find love again. No one will ever love you again. Like it's a really like deep feeling. And then when you get out of those relationships, you feel like dang, like I don't have anyone around me anymore. Everyone I had around me left because of how toxic this person is. And like it's a crazy thing to experience, and I wouldn't wish that experience on anyone, because it's just like it's really sad to have to see someone that you love so much like feel and be so negative towards you, when like you're supposed to encourage your partner, you're supposed to want the best out of them. Like I would only like be like, oh, if this person's so and so, like I would just be careful. I would tell them like, place your boundary line. If someone is doing something disrespectful to you, place your boundary line. It's not like you can't be friends with them. Like, oh, I don't like them, you're not hanging out with them. But it's just kind of that distinction, or like people assume like oh, because he's dating her, then he can't be friends with us anymore, when that's not the case. Like you never told them that they did it on their own, because they realize like these people aren't being respectful towards the person that I care about. Then I'm not gonna surround myself with the people like that.
I want to go back to like how like I think to me was one saying when she was being defensive, like for example the eating disorder. Sometimes like I don't know the
No, eat it.
No, you can eat it.
arguing about food.
You have food while
No, I know.
We know who doesn't have an eating disorder.
Bro, that's so funny. We realize that when they're talking like eating, we're like, bro, like eat it. Go ahead, eat it. Like,
I know you want to.
Guys, this is a play-by-play.
bro.
I'm a real life example right there.
That was disrespectful. I'm so sorry about that, Bridget.
Sorry, go ahead.
Ow! I'm being abused,
Bro.
When
abusing me.
take your time, guys.
Oh yeah, get away from me.
When she was being defensive, like I feel like I didn't know the dude, obviously.
Whoa! I
didn't
didn't assume you did.
But it's crazy to see because when she was getting defensive, I felt like I was hearing him.
Yeah.
Like the way she was like defending him.
Okay, anyways, I feel like the missing girl plotline was such a wake-up call for her.
Yeah.
Because, like, at the end, she said something like, oh, like, I'm not sure if I wasn't sure if I would make it to the other side. And I think it was a really good wake-up call for her, especially when Simon, I think his name was.
Oh, his name is Simon.
She knows the
Oh
name.
my god.
He, like, got the chapstick, and she was like, oh, like, I feel like this might be a clue. And Simon was like, are you stupid? Like, no, like, this isn't.
Like, girl, they
Like,
would have
girl-
picked up on that.
And
That's what he was saying, not me.
But I feel like it was such a good wake up call
Yeah.
because it was sort of implied that like an ex-boyfriend or someone of that nature was the person who had like killed the girl.
Yeah.
And so I think that sort of like woke her up to it and made her realize more.
I might
about
be
the
next. Like,
Girl,
that's what I would think. Like, oh, girl, I
Yeah.
might be next.
Mm-hmm.
I literally thought it was gonna go to a subplot where Simon was a serial killer. I was like,
That's
Like-
what I thought. I thought it was gonna show like he's the one that killed
Yeah.
her. Like,
you were watching
you
it like,
ever see movies like that? And like they're like the
yeah.
boyfriend or husband's like the killer,
I mean, I guess.
and then the wife finds out, and
I
then he
would've
tries to
not liked
kill
it
her.
if it was that bad.
Yeah.
really?
No.
I would have
like
been
this
like,
version.
it's like a lot. No, but yeah, the whole missing girl plot line, it was like, it was. I felt like it was really good to central to. It was good to the for the story. Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say.
You know what? Because I was about to say that couple that just sat over there gave her a sweater. Like I feel like it's so normalized. Like oh my gosh, they're so cute. But then like like Bridget was saying, like you don't know what happens like behind doors. Like it's that image that people love to put. Like oh, they're such a cute couple. They're so cute. But then it's like they could be like going through really tough things like behind doors because it's so shameful to like look like you're not put together or you don't have your stuff together.
No, I've been the person where I was like, damn, that's what was happening. Like when couples, I'm like, oh my god, they're so cute. Like they must be like, you know.
Or like YouTubers. I feel like it happens to YouTubers a lot.
Yeah, and then like weeks later, I hear the reasons they broke up and why they broke up, and I'm like, yeah, like they must have been like really hiding that because especially with social media now, like everybody has a good couple. Like that's how you say up.
Supposedly, random people had girlfriends.
1, 2, 3.
Bye! Get off of me!
Hey, thumbnail, bro.
Oh, yeah, thumbnail.